It was 2 a.m. on a freezing winter night when Ethan Walker's phone rang. Half asleep and disoriented, he fumbled for it on the nightstand. The name flashing on the screen was unfamiliar, Clara M. He almost ignored it, thinking it was a wrong number. But something deep in his gut told him to answer. A soft, trembling voice came through the line. "Please, is this the roadside service? My car's stuck near Ravenwood Bridge. It's so dark, and my phone's about to die." Ethan sat up instantly. He wasn't a roadside assistant. He was a single father, working 2 jobs just to keep food on the table. But when he heard the fear in her voice, he couldn't hang up. "Ma'am, I think you've got the wrong number," he said gently. "But tell me where you are." "I'll come help," she hesitated. "You don't even know me." "I know you're scared," Ethan replied. "And no one should be out there alone tonight." He threw on his old leather jacket, scribbled a note for his 9-year-old son, Noah, and drove his worn-out pickup truck into the snowy darkness. Before we go deeper into this incredible story about how one act of compassion changed 2 lives forever, make sure you subscribe to your channel name, where we share real, heartfelt stories that remind us what truly matters: kindness, hope, and humanity. Don't forget to like this video and tell us in the comments if you believe that kindness can really change a life. As Ethan's headlights cut through the icy wind, he spotted a dark blue BMW half buried in snow by the roadside, steam rising from the hood. A woman in a long grey coat stood beside it, shivering and hugging herself. That was Clara Morgan, the only daughter of Richard Morgan, the late owner of one of the biggest construction firms in the region. Everyone knew the Morgans, but Ethan didn't recognize her at first. "You're not the tow truck guy?" she said as he stepped out. "No, ma'am," Ethan replied with a small smile. "Just someone who couldn't leave you out here in the cold." Her eyes widened slightly. "You came all this way for me?" "Guess I did," Ethan chuckled softly. He grabbed a flashlight, checked under the hood, and hooked a chain from his truck to hers. It took nearly an hour of struggling in the biting wind, but finally the BMW rolled free from the ditch. His hands were numb, his jacket soaked. Clara reached into her purse, pulling out a few crisp $100 bills. "Please take this," Ethan shook his head. "No need. I'm just glad you're safe." She looked at him like she couldn't believe people like him still existed. "No one does things like this anymore," he shrugged. Maybe they should. The next morning, Clara couldn't stop thinking about him. She'd spent her life surrounded by people paid to care, drivers, assistants, staff, but this stranger had helped her without wanting anything in return. A week later, she walked into the Maple House Cafe, where Ethan worked part-time as a cook. He was wiping down the counter when she appeared, looking completely out of place among the smell of bacon and coffee. "You again," Ethan said with a grin. "Car trouble?" She smiled faintly. "No, I wanted to thank you properly. Let me buy you breakfast." They talked for hours. About loss, about loneliness, about how kindness sometimes comes from the most unexpected places. She told him how her father had passed away a year ago, leaving her wealth but no purpose. Ethan told her about Noah, how he'd lost his wife when Noah was 4, and how he was just doing his best to raise a good boy. "You must be an amazing dad," Clara said softly. He smiled. "Just trying to teach him that kindness still matters." Over the next few weeks, Clara kept visiting the cafe. Sometimes she brought storybooks for Noah, sometimes homemade pastries for Ethan. Friendship bloomed quietly between them. One snowy evening, Clara invited Ethan and Noah to spend Christmas Eve at her estate. Ethan hesitated. "That's really not our kind of place," he said. Clara smiled warmly. "That's exactly why you should come. It's missing your kind of people." Noah's eyes lit up. "Please, Dad." And so they went. As Ethan's truck pulled up the long driveway, the mansion glowed with soft lights, wreaths, and snowflakes falling over the roof. Inside, the smell of cinnamon and pine filled the air. But what struck Ethan most wasn't the beauty. It was the emptiness. "I haven't had anyone here for Christmas since my father passed," Clara said softly. "It means more than you know," Ethan nodded. "No one should be alone on Christmas." That night, laughter echoed through halls that hadn't heard joy in years. Clara watched Noah play with the ornaments, her heart aching in the best way. For the first time in a long time, she felt something real, home. When the night ended, Noah fell asleep on the couch, and Clara looked at him tenderly. "He's wonderful," she whispered. "Got his mom's smile," Ethan said quietly. "You know," Clara murmured, "I've spent years trying to buy happiness. Cars, vacations, everything. But the first time I truly felt it was when a stranger showed up on a freezing night just to help me." Ethan smiled faintly. "Guess we both found something that night." As months passed, their bond deepened. Clara started volunteering at Noah's school, helping with local charity drives, and even funding a small auto repair shop for Ethan. When he protested, she said, "It's not charity, it's partnership." And it was. One spring evening, Clara came outside with 2 mugs of coffee, while Ethan fixed the old fence by her garden. "You helped me that night when you didn't have to," she said. "Maybe it's time I return the favor." He looked at her, smiling. "You already have," she stepped closer. "Not enough. You reminded me that good people still exist. And you reminded me," he said softly, "that good things still happen." By summer, Clara asked Ethan and Noah to move into the guest house. She said it was for convenience, so Noah could play in the big yard and Ethan could be closer to his business. But deep down, they all knew it was about family. Evenings were filled with laughter, shared dinners, and warmth that money could never buy. Noah started calling her Aunt Clara. She started tucking him in at night. Ethan would watch from the porch, heart full. One night, under a quiet sky filled with fireflies, Clara sat beside him. "Do you ever think about that night?" she asked. "All the time," Ethan said softly. "One wrong call changed everything," she smiled. "Maybe it wasn't wrong. Maybe the universe just called the right number." Years later, people in Ravenwood would smile when they saw Ethan, Clara, and Noah running community drives, helping families, spreading kindness. They called them the Heart of Ravenwood. And every Christmas Eve, as snow fell softly outside, Clara would whisper, "Still think that was a wrong number?" Ethan would grin. "No, just a call from fate, because in the end, it wasn't money or luck that brought them together, it was kindness. One act of selfless compassion that changed 2 lives forever." So, the next time your phone rings and someone needs help, even if it's inconvenient, maybe, just maybe, it's the universe calling you to change a life. Because kindness doesn't just save others, it saves us too. If you love this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to your channel name, where every story reminds us that compassion is the most powerful force in the world. And remember, one act of kindness can echo forever.